I'd like to go up to 147 and chase a real big fight like Terence Crawford. You know, and off the back of that performance, I'm pretty sure he's thinking that's easy work, you know. And so would I be thinking that, you know, if I was watching myself tonight, terrible performance. But, you know, still the right man won the fight. The right man won the fight.
So, boxing pound for pound number one, Terence Bud Crawford, gave his reaction to Josh Taylor calling him out and his fight with Catterall. Crawford stated, quote, "Stop disrespecting me. I'm different." End of the quote. Now, first things first, I have always wanted to see Crawford versus Josh Taylor. I mean, that's a quality fight, since I rate Josh Taylor as a top 5 pound for pound fighter. However, not after that performance, not after that robbery. I do not want to see Josh Taylor fight Crawford. That type of performance in a robbery fashion killed the hype for Josh Taylor to fight Crawford next. It's sad to say, but at this point, I'm more interested in seeing Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor than Josh Taylor versus Terence Crawford. I never thought I would have said that, but with that type of performance, a robbery on that scale deserves a rematch at the very least. It's not fair for Jack Catterall, it's not fair for the fans, and it's not fair for Crawford to fight Josh Taylor after such a bad performance that left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. The fact that Josh Taylor couldn't get away from Catterall's jab and straight left hand all night long and got dropped in the process, that raises the question, how the heck Josh Taylor is going to avoid Crawford's jab and straight left hand from the southpaw position when he turns Super Saiyan? We talking about the best finisher in boxing and one of the hardest punchers pound for pound, along with being the most skilled. Therefore, Josh Taylor has to do the right thing and give Catterall a rematch, not at 147, where Catterall stands to win nothing, but at 140, where Catterall stands to win everything that was robbed from him. I mean, this was another black eye in the sport of boxing. When you have another fighter from Josh Taylor's own hometown, Carl Frampton, a former world champion, who is, by the way, is going to Josh Taylor's wedding, come out and say that this was a robbery, and he does not know what the heck the judges were watching to score the fight for Josh Taylor.
These guys, I'm going to Josh's wedding. I'm going to Josh's wedding, by the way. So I like to be honest, don't I? And hopefully I'm still invited. The wrong man got his hand raised. I haven't spoke to anybody at ringside that thinks otherwise, and
that's when you know there's some real corruption taking place. I mean, if boxing from the higher up wants to fix the issue, it's an easy fix. With all of the technology today and the fact that we can review the fight, why can't we overturn a bad decision if it's unanimous that it was a robbery? That's a rhetorical question. It's more so they do not want boxing to be fixed. Last but not least, unlike Canelo Alvarez that jumped to the opportunity to fight a fighter coming off a robbery when he requested to fight Caleb Smith after he robbed Ryder, Crawford, on the other hand, is cut from a different cloth. Instead of making up history the way Canelo Alvarez does, by capturing the moment of fighting an undisputed champion like Josh Taylor after a bad performance, alternatively, Crawford told Josh Taylor, "Do not disrespect me. I'm different." But we already knew that. We already knew that Crawford is different than Canelo. Canelo vacates titles to duck dangerous mandatories in Charlo. On the other hand, Crawford goes out of his way to fight his dangerous mandatories. In Sean Porter, he calls out Errol Spence to fight for undisputed. He goes after Jermell Charlo for undisputed in the division above. But Canelo goes after the weakest links in every single division. He turns down undisputed fights with dangerous fighters such as Andre for his biggest payday at the time. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.
Taking a long time with those scorecards, Tess. I think some erasing is going on right now. Instead of the say that. I don't know why. I'm just saying it's taking a long time with those scorecards.